And we're back. Apologies, I've been away for a bit there, just getting a hardware upgrade, so it took me offline for a bit. But we're back here with this base from Charles called Gunk Squad. Well, that's the name on the save anyway. Now, the first thing you notice here is these ice sculptures. Never thought of using ice sculptures in space. It's perfectly safe, there's no heat transfer, they're in a vacuum. Just nice little touch, I really like that idea. I never would even thought to use ice sculptures in space. I always considered them just a heat deletion device, but yeah, you can actually use them in space with perfect immunity. Very, very nice. Now, what we've got right here though is a solar section with a battery box sort of just built in right below it. And as another nice touch, it's actually got a built-in power plug sockets into it. So this section has a couple of transformers here that feed into a single 2 kilowatt wire. They're actually small transformers so that they limit this wire to 2 kilowatts, meaning it can never overload, even if you overload the wire. So that goes up there and that feeds the miners that keep all the regolith clear and keep the scanners clear so that you can gain access to, well, sunshine. But normally I would throw down 2 or 3 slabs of solar. But not if you're the Gunk Squad. If you're the Gunk Squad, you're going to go with lots and lots and lots and lots of solar. Wow, that is so much solar. That is an impressive construction job. If we zoom all the way out here, you'll see that actually goes pretty much the entire width of the map. That is so much solar. Now, to cool it all down, there's actually a little bit of a cooling box over here. Where are we going? Yeah, we got plumbing overlay. So just don't really worry too much about the piping, but this is basically a cooling loop. But the cooling loop actually goes all the way through to cool up here, but it also goes through the battery box as well. So it actually cools down both areas simultaneously, giving you a huge, giant cool battery box, and it cools down your mining drills so that you can actually keep all the regolith there. Very nice touch, combining all of them into one. I only use the cooling loop to cool the miners, but I'm basically wasting its potential. Loop it into the battery boxes, and you can throw down a whole huge, enormous battery box. No need for worrying about atmosphere, wheeze warts, any of that stuff. You can just throw power at the problem. One of my favorite solutions to pretty much, well, my favorite solution to all the problems. Anyway, next up we're going to go over to the steam rocket. Now, there's a steam rocket over here, and you've got this, this steam box below it that's actually providing the steam. And my first thought was, okay, well, there's a vent over here. You must be getting the steam from somewhere. And you'd think, well, I followed this pipe. This pipe went all the way back here, all the way down, and went into this volcano room here. So there's a gold volcano that's spitting out gold that gets basically cooled down by these 2 steam turbines. Also a couple of aqua tuners in here. One of them, they're running cooling loops and various other bits and pieces about the base. But basically it's a whole bunch of heat deletion all in one spot. And also an enormous amount of steam is present there. So if you want to launch a steam rocket, you just siphon steam out of this room. There's a little bit of automation put in place to actually dump in excess water so that the water level doesn't go down and that kind of thing. But very simple way to get steam. You're always going to have steam in here that's 120 degrees. Why not just pump that into your rocket if you need it? Very smart idea, I like that. But that is not actually hooked up anymore. The reason being, when this steam rocket takes off, it has an exhaust, and the exhaust is basically heating up this, well, steel box. So instead of actually using steam from all the way up the other side of the map, you'll actually notice there's a little liquid vent here. This comes down here. Where are we? Did I miss it? No, here we are. So there's actually it's hooked up to, well, this cool steam vent. So the water in here is being pumped up and it goes up to the rocket up here and gets dumped in there, and the actual exhaust from the steam engine is heating the steam for the next launch. Nice little ingenious touch, I like that, very nice. Also 314 kilos of steam, more than enough steam to power quite a few of those research rockets. Now, if we just pop down a little bit here, we've got, was it natural gas geyser? But you'll notice there's a wheeze wart in here, and this the liquid lock is actually frozen solid. Very common issue. But yeah, thankfully the natural gas geyser is dormant at the moment. Doesn't really make a difference. A frozen block of water still blocks airflow, same as anything else. But oh yes, here we have the first of one of many cooling loops. That is a beautiful cooling loop. Look at that spiral pattern. Gotta love it. So this beautiful spiral here combined with an anti-entropy nullifier and 2 wheeze warts. I like the little wall pot up there. I never would have thought of doing that. But the 2 of them go down here, and they actually run into this second little spiral that is doing a cooling loop through this water. And that water is sitting on top of the cool steam vent. And the little temperature shift plates there basically transfer the chill down here. Very, very nice. But where is the actual hydrogen coming from that actually, well, powers this anti-entropy nullifier? You can hear that one going up top. That actually is going up to feed the battery boxes. That's what was used to pressurize them. But if you follow this and trace it all the way back, it actually goes all the way down here. And wait, no, still going. Wait, is that the hydrogen vent? I think this is a hydrogen vent here. Yeah, so there's a hydrogen vent here, and they're actually harnessing it just perfectly fine with just a Weezewort, which, I never would have thought to do that. And there's actually liquid phosphorus down here. That's kind of nice. Anyway, the cool steam vent there, that is actually feeds up here and goes all the way over here to just a couple of hydrogen generators and a couple of backup tanks. So what happens is the hydrogen comes in here, and if these hydrogen generators are needed, they kick in and the hydrogen is burnt off. However, any excess hydrogen will just overflows this direction. Just fire this up. And then it can go over here and feed into the anti-entropy nullifier, and any excess that can't go across that way, which actually is just about to happen right now, will get sent all the way down here and get sent into this room. Yes. Oh, actually, that hydrogen vent. Now, this here is probably one of the more unique Draco farms I've seen. I've never been a fan of Dracos, but I am a fan of this. Okay, each room, look at this. Genius marble statue, masterpiece. This is a very common theme. There's always little pieces of art everywhere, even in places that aren't accessible in the space. It looks really nice. But you'll notice here there's no grooming stations. Now that seems a bit odd, and it took me a few minutes to figure it out, but it's basically a bunch of these are still wild. So all that's happened is they get harvested once in their life cycle, and then, well, who cares after that? But I'm noticing something odd. I can't be sure about this, but okay, these ones here, there's some non-wild ones. They're tamed ones in here, and they do eventually starve to death. But if you look down here at scale growth, 1 second, it's doing its quick autosave. Reasonably quick autosave? Oh no, that one's not doing it. Give me... are you tame? Yeah, you're tame. Scale growth, 100%. Who has not actually got their scales at 100%? There's got to be someone. Scale growth, 62. Okay, so this glossy Draco here is actually starving to death. But if you check on the scale growth, its scale growth is still 33%. So even though it's not groomed, even though it's actually starving to death, its scales are still growing at a rate of, well, once every 3 cycles you'll be able to harvest this. And its age is 35, meaning you got about 10 shearings out of this Draco. So you get 10 free shearings, you don't have to groom them, you don't have to feed them, you don't have to do any messing around with atmospheric pressures and mealwood and any of that. It's just, you dump them in here, you get about 10 harvests out of them, and then they become, they evolve. It's perfect. Of course, you've got to restock this because they will keep dying out, and they're not really going to be able to reproduce. The tame ones will die before they actually drop an egg, so how do you replace them? Well, that's why there's critter drop-offs. And if you look over here, this is the actual breeding chamber for this entire farm. So there's basically 4 critters in here, just 4. That's all you need. And those 4 critters basically are feeding on the mealwood in here. And anytime they drop eggs, the eggs are then sent over to an incubation chamber to be incubated. And also lots of little flowers, the odd statue or 2. Very cute. And then, then they get sent over here to Egg Farm Central. Dear Lord, that is so many incubators. So many incubators. But yeah, this is where the eggs go to be hatched, and then the ones that can be taken up here are taken up here and dropped off at sectors where the critter has moved on. Very nice touch. Also, you'll notice lots of statues around the place as well, a few Weezeworts, and there's a hydrogen being pumped in here up the top. Also, all the excess hydrogen, I think they're still pressurizing this whole area. So the whole place is being filled with hydrogen, so the scale growth on these is always 33%. It never drops below that because they're never out of hydrogen. And also it's helping to allow the Weezeworts in here to give more cooling. So I think that's going to keep pressurizing down until, well, I'm not exactly sure where they're going to stop, but I'm pretty sure they're going to push it down until they've got all of these incubators pressurized. Now, over here we have oxygen supply. In fact, there's several of these, but I've seen this design before. This is one of the more popular ones. Very nice. You stick in your 4 Weezeworts, and it basically is, the oxygen comes out, it's cool and ready to be dumped straight into your base. It's one of those fire and forget solutions, which I'm always a big fan of. And there's also a masterpiece painting in there, even though it's a sealed box. I love it. I love it. Now, if we keep going down, we've got your general purpose water tank. I wasn't too sure what was going on here because there's actually a mix of polluted water and clean water, but I think this was used as an overflow. So when this cooling box over here, this box here is actually getting water. Ooh, I should probably cover where the water is coming from for this whole base. Let's try not to get too many spoilers. Where are we? Yes, here we go. This is actually probably the main water supply for the base. Polluted water vent. So it's dumping in here, and that is basically a natural water pool, or water tank, with a little bit of an overflow built in. If the pressure goes above that, it gets dumped into some reed fiber just to make sure it doesn't overflow and cause any problems. You don't want it dumping down into the rest of your base. But yeah, just a simple pressurized room. Oh, and we've got a Biome lily farm over here. But they need to be grown in chlorine, so why not just grab some chlorine from up here? That's it. Basically, when this erupts, the chlorine just falls down to the bottom. And eventually it's going to pressurize this whole area, and we'll have enough chlorine to grow our Biome lily. Very nice. Oh, second one of these little oxygen production facilities. Actually, where was it? There was a third oxygen production facility. This is the big one. Look at the size of that sucker. Also, masterpieces present, of course, because you can't have any building without some artwork or statues in it. Very, very, very cool. Now, where were we? So this is probably the main oxygen production facility for the whole base, but it also siphons off the hydrogen here, and that hydrogen goes off, and well, it follows around that route we recovered earlier. Now, do you like hatches? I like hatches, but that is so many hatches. So what was done here is you stick in 2 stables in the middle. The groomers come along and groom them, but because of the size here, the hatches that are out here, for example, you'll notice that they're, well, this one's glum because they haven't been groomed yet, but they're not actually overpopulated. So these ones are overcrowded because they're in this tiny little room at the moment, and it's got, how many critters are in there? 42, 47, 44. Yeah, there's 40 or so critters in there at all times. But the moment they leave this room and they're standing out here, they're no longer cramped, and they will actually are no longer overcrowded, and their reproduction rates go up. So using this, you're able to spam out a lot of hatches. That is so many hatches. Also, did you know hatches give off 10 decor? Yeah, there's 250 decor that dupe is being exposed to because they're standing in the middle of, well, so many hatches. That can't be 250? 25 hatches. Yeah, so 10 hatches. 10 decor per hatch, 25 hatches. That is a ridiculous amount of hatches. Also, the obligatory sculptures. A little bit of plants around the place, the usual. Now, where were we? Ooh, yeah. Second backup battery box. Considering that the top half of the map is almost entirely one big string of battery boxes, there is so much battery power on this map. But they're pretty much running entirely on solar. I ran this for about 10 or 15 cycles, and I can see that when the bunker doors close, the batteries in here will actually decrease by quite a bit, and eventually the power generators can potentially kick in, depending on how long the combination of meteor showers, nighttime, that kind of stuff can cause the batteries to run out. But they have plenty of power generation to catch up. Not really a problem. Where was the power generation? Ah, okay. Now this is what you talk about when you go, yes, I want a really, really, really big power room. And not only is it a really big power room, there's yeah, they're all actually power plant rooms. They've been made to the right size, spec, they've got a door, the usual. Though I believe these have been, yeah, these haven't been set, so there's no filters designed on what refined metals to use. I tried using these before as well. They increase, you spend basically refined metal, you dump it into the power plant. You make microchips out of refined metal, you dump the microchips into the power plant, and the power plant gets a 50% increase to power generation, I believe. Something along those lines, but I never really got into it too much. I normally find ways around power. But if you're struggling for power and you have enough refined metal or a volcano tapped, you can just say, assign something like, say you've got an iron volcano tapped, you can dump iron into these and increase your power production of a power plant by 50% for a whole cycle. It can be quite handy if you want to stretch your power supply. But the real fun is in the background. Look at that cooling loop. They left room for expansion and then some. My god. Where is it? Oh, yeah, temperature overlay. The whole place is super chilly. Super, super, super duper chilly. Now, let's follow this cooling loop back. It goes all the way down here. Pumps in. Well, somehow it makes it into this aqua chamber, and then it comes out this way and back out. As far as I can tell, there's no limiter on this. It's basically just deleting heat out of this area until, well, until the end of the universe, as far as I can tell. But yeah, two aqua tuners in here, basically allowing this steam turbine to do double duty. Very nice touch. Yes, and also the obligatory pieces of artwork in the middle in an area Duke can't even access. I love it. Oh, natural gas. Natural gas mostly comes from natural gas geysers, but there's a oil refinement going on as well. But what happens is the natural gas is coming in through this pipe. It gets dumped into this gas reservoir. If the gas reservoir fills up, it overflows out here and gets dumped into this room. This room is basically just a giant gas tank of storage. And then with just a little bit of clever piping here, if this gas tank ever runs out and there's no natural gas coming through, then this gas pump will just start dumping the spare natural gas in this tank onto the line and up to the natural gas generators. Like it. Now, then we got this little liquid pump over here. This one actually pumps the polluted water. That's what's actually ending up in this liquid tank over here. And, oh, oops, sorry about that. And, yeah, this is, I'm still a little bit confused about why there's polluted water and clean water in this tank. I'm not sure. I presume there's going to be filters put in this, but as far as I can tell, there's nothing actually drawing from this. It seems to be just pure storage. So this is where all the polluted water and clean water is dumped. That's excess. Also, obligatory genius sculptures, a couple of masterpieces, very symmetrical, like in the symmetry. And another water storage tank. This seems to be the general actual water supply for the base and several other little things about the place. But you'll notice this conveyor rail system goes all the way down here, all the way across, and it powers these coal generators. There's actually a coal storage just feeding into this, and this coal storage is basically powering only a few pieces down here, but namely a bunch of incubators. This glass forge seems to have been disconnected. I think the glass forge was originally down here, and that's why the coal generators are there, and then it got switched over into a station later. That's also running a gas pump down there and the pump for the oil. That oil goes up to the oil refinement station. But yes, we have these incubators down here now. What are they? Where are they getting their eggs from? There doesn't seem to be any grooming stations here, right? Yeah, that's because they're doing the same thing over here. Now, this is new, you can tell, because there's not 500 bajillion critters down here yet. But give it time. Give it time. There's plenty more space here, so those slicksters have far more space to roam in. Gas pressure down here, there's only about 4 kilos of CO2, but I think they're siphoning it off from over here. But yeah, there's definitely enough CO2 to keep them going for a while. This is the oil refinement. One of these has actually been shut off. I think there used to be 2 because they needed more power originally. But right now they have so much solar and battery backup, they don't actually need these oil refineries operating too often. But this oil refinery here leads all the way back up here, dumps into some storage tanks. There's even a little drop off here so that they can pump, they have a pitcher pump for petroleum. Already done and dusted, and then that feeds, this gets all sorts of complicated. Okay, goes across here, goes over here, and then feeds right into all of these petroleum refineries. So, actually I'll turn off the overlay. Yeah, it basically just feeds into these petroleum refineries, and there's, well, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 tons of petroleum ready to go to be dumped into these. And the petroleum does go off to other areas, but all of that was to feed cooling loops, liquid locks, just some sort of constructions on the other side, but mainly it's just used for these. All the rest of the draw on that is just stuff that cooling loop projects, that kind of thing. Ooh, I didn't even notice that volcano the first time. That's free power. You could totally be boiling oil with that. Okay, I know I'm addicted to that stuff, but never mind. Yeah, and here we have another oxygen setup. This one is just I wonder if this can actually do 2 kilos of oxygen per second. Actually, 8, 16. Oh no, it can't. This 16.6. Yeah, 16.6. So about 1.66 kilos of oxygen is about the max that could do for you. But it also comes with 2 built-in masterpieces, just because. Now, where was main base? There's a couple of really nice features I liked in the main base. Right, so here's the industrial brick, and then you've got your. Oh, now we're actually getting into the main base part. I think this is the expansion. The original main base is up top. So you've got, of course, your shower rooms, your comfy beds, a whole entertainment section with espresso machines and a jukebox stereo. Very, very nice. But where was it? Oh yeah, there's the Dreco reproduction section. But if you look down here, there's a whole room full of carbon dioxide here. This used to be a mushroom farm, I presume retired. And you'll notice over here, there's actually oxygen. So what's happening? It's basically a CO2 lock. The CO2, well, occasionally a little blob will try and escape, but by and large the CO2 will just sit down here. The oxygen pressure remains constant in here. That stops the CO2 from escaping, giving you a CO2 area where you can literally just walk out of it and not care without, well, not completely not care. There's little bits of CO2 from inside the base will keep floating down to refill anything that escapes out the bottom. So it's pretty much a very stable system as far as I can see. And liquid lock the other side. Nice little touch here. Was I think this transport tube network was a late addition. So what was done was they to keep the water into this liquid lock and not have to squeeze this back any further. They literally just stuck in a transit tube crossing. Done and dusted. Now, second CO2 lock. We've got another CO2 lock over here. Where is it? Yeah, right there. So this CO2 lock does something a little different. It actually keeps the food storage area. This is the food storage area in here. And it's all chlorine. So this basically is a giant pocket of chlorine right beside your living area that's doing nothing. It just sits there and it can't escape because the CO2 in here stops it from getting out. A very nice touch. So all the fridges in here store, there's actually an enormous amount of medicine. There's immunoboosters, allergy medication, all that kind of stuff. Most of the food is actually stored in this tile here. There's a tiny little bit of shipping automation. So this auto sweeper here can reach that. So it basically dumps all the food that's cooked in there, and that food just takes a short little hop, drops down there, and then it's in pure chlorine, and then it's disinfected. No germs, no worry about germs, food poisoning, anything like that. Problem solved. I'm pretty sure this was an early addition to the base. And not only that, it's actually vacuum sealed in. Like, you'll see there's little pieces of sandstone in here. All that was done was this was actually solid tiles. These tiles were put in front of it, and then diagonally deconstructed the tiles in the middle. And then you've got a perfect vacuum. So this whole area is completely temperature sealed from the outside. And also covered in genius metal gold sculptures. All the way. And hanging pots on the bottom, because I suppose the statues wouldn't fit there. Beautiful. Now, where were we? Ah, okay, so this is the main base area. Very glowy over there. But, yeah, we've got exits out here for atmosuit docks, more atmosuit docks over here, and more atmosuit docks over here for maximum speed everywhere. Oh, yeah, that was it. You'll notice that the kitchen down here has carpet beneath it. Not only is that carpet, that's ceramic carpet. I have no idea how you do ceramic carpet. I'm pretty sure it can't do fibers, but whatever. In this world, it works. It's perfect. Oh, and an actual snazzy suit on a pedestal. In all fairness, snazzy suits should be on pedestals because snazzy suits are amazing. Anyway, where was I? Ah, yes. Main dining area with Mafic rock temperature shift plate backing. Just because, you know, you might as well have it. And I presume this is the original water tank with mermaids in there. Now, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that when these statues were originally constructed, they may not have been mermaids, and if they weren't mermaids, they got deconstructed, reconstructed, and remade until eventually they turned out like mermaids. Charles, if you could let me know in the comments, I'm just curious. I don't think this was an accident. I think this was on purpose. Now, medical section, of course. Super hatch farm. Bristleberries. Oh, actually, food-wise. Try and imagine how much meat is being dropped by the amount of critters up here that are going to be passing away of natural causes. We've got 5 million calories of pepper bread, 4 million of barbecue, 4 million of stuffed berry, 1 million of bristleberry, and 250,000 calories of fried mushroom, because that's probably left over from the old mushroom farms. God damn, that is so many calories. Ugh. Anyway, yeah, let's just have one look, zoomed out look here, and you'll notice, look at all this empty space. These diagonal ladder segments here just basically allow the dupes to go pretty much anywhere inside there. Actually, give me a dupe. One dupe. Any dupe will do. Oh, there's one. Oop. Show navigation. Okay, so you'll see here, they can basically navigate all of this open space. And also this drops everything. Actually, there's still a bunch of pepper bread plants. All the pepper bread plants have been left in. Good standards, like that. And you'll notice there, yeah, I love that pathing options. Just all the different diagonal angles they can take. That is awesome. Oh, and yeah. Now, I know this is base loving and there's no critiquing. But you've got fossils down here. Now, I'm not saying you should totally jump on that, but there's fossils. Those fossils could be turned into steel. You know, just saying. Just saying. Anyway, next up. Ooh, actually, before I go, thanks again, Charles, for this map. Really enjoyed having a look around your base. I love the way you've actually put statues everywhere. You've actually gone with a more aesthetic approach. I'm more about ruthless efficiency, but even just this little area here. Yep, four paintings, couple of statues, just yeah, randomly. I'm pretty sure there was something placed there before you deleted it. Very nice touch. Thanks very much for the map. I also forgot to do the power grid as well. Should really have done this earlier. Yeah, look at this power grid. This power grid is perfect because it's just about perfect. It's not absolutely perfect like a circuit board, but it's very nicely done. It's actually organized, straightforward, lines going off in perfect directions. This is the main power feed that actually goes up to the battery box up top that provides most of the power to the main base. That basically all the solar is providing 90% of the power to this, and very rarely do the power generators actually kick in. Now this is the right mix of very neat, but not so neat that it makes me feel bad. Perfect, perfect, I love it. Hey, next up. This base was sent in by Bob Terminator. Thanks for the map, Bob. Also I think I recorded the last view in a slightly different resolution. The last bit of the video in a different resolution. New hardware, new software, new everything. I had to reset everything. But anyway, apologies if the quality was a bit low. Now, this here, I freaking love. This is regolith harvesting going on up here. So just your standard regolith harvesting, all getting dumped onto some conveyor rails across quite a large area, as you can see. There's I think I'm the only one who doesn't harvest all the sky for solar. I must be the only person. But anyway, all that regolith gets shipped down here to the shovel farm. But really nice touch here is, as these pieces of regolith pass through the metal tiles and pass through the atmosphere here, it heats up the whole area, and that heat is being dumped into these steam turbines. So it's actually generating electricity. So there's a few reasons why this is genius. One, you're actually turning regolith, which you're just dumping into shovels for meat, and it's a waste product basically, this regolith. You're not only generating energy out of it, which you can use to help pay for the harvesting of the regolith, but at the same time it reduces the temperature in here, and basically makes this whole place temperature regulated to the point where you could literally survive using steel. You don't need to wait for niobium or space metals or thermium or anything like that. You could actually build a shovel regolith farm using steel equipment, steel auto sweepers. Look, that's a steel auto sweeper right there. It has no problems existing in that room. Steam turbines are keeping it alive. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. There's a little bit of automation here to make sure the steam turbines are not both on until a certain amount of heat is in the room, that type of thing. But just so glaringly obvious. I should have done something like this on my playthrough. I think about 2 or 3 people in the comments pointed out I should have done this. And once you see it in action, yeah, I am definitely switching to this. I don't know if I can modify my current playthrough, but I don't think I have the space for this. Damn, that is so nice. Now, automation-wise, the eggshells go into one of these, the eggs go into another. Or is it? Wait, no. Meat goes into one, eggs go into the other. The eggs get sent over here. So the eggs go over here, up here, and they get to basically a conveyor shut off. If there's room in this room for them, they get dumped into the conveyor loader and the auto sweeper takes care of the rest. If there is no room, as in it's at the right amount, then they get dumped down here and sent into a little evolution room. This weird M-shaped evolution room. Kind of nice. Not gonna lie, that looks pretty cool. Though I don't know why there's not another tile there. Ah, never mind. But anyway, all that meat that ends up in there, that all gets dumped into this conveyor loader and sent off down to the main base. You can actually see some of it there already on its way. But yeah, very simple and efficient way to farm regolith, and it just makes it so that you can do it earlier. And it's always nice to be able to get rid of that regolith sooner rather than later. The more of it accumulates, slower the frame rate. Now, actually I think Bob's note on this was, have fun at the 1 FPS. Well, new hardware seems to be handling it pretty okay. Alright. Now, where were we? Oh yes. Here is your standard steam turbine heat deletion device over here. And this actually provides this cooling loop. This cooling loop goes up and cools all the miners and everything upstairs. And then, where are we? Over here, I believe it was. We have battery boxes. This is a battery box day. People, look at the amount of batteries there. I can't actually fit them all on the screen. Let's zoom out a bit. There we go. There's all the batteries. Oh my god. But the unique thing about these battery boxes is the cooling loops. Now, these cooling loops here are just, they're using small amounts of supercoolant through the pipes. But you'll notice this one is just a closed loop, so it's not powered. This one here is also a closed loop, also unpowered. And this one, where is it? Here. This one here, also a closed loop and unpowered. And you notice none of them are actually going through any sort of cooling solution. All of them are just running around. They're all quite chilly. That's minus 30 degrees. Like this is really, really chill atmosphere. So where's the cooling coming from? Well, hydrogen cooling. So this is the liquid oxygen box. That liquid oxygen box. Now, if you remember my playthrough, I did this cooling loop just to cool the steam turbines, but I didn't think big enough. The amount of cooling you're able to get out of the liquid oxygen, instead just take that excess cooling and you just run some cooling loops through here, and you can cool huge amounts of stuff if you really want to. I mean, the oxygen cooling, you can cool a lot more than a kilo of an oxygen per second with one aqua tuner. I mean, look, that thing's not even flat out. It's cooling the steam turbines and 2 ginormous battery boxes simultaneously. Not even sweating it. So that's a nice way of actually stretching your cooling. Very nicely done. Very, very nicely done. Yeah, my general playthrough style has been classified as, was it ruthlessly efficient? I think Bob took that ruthlessly efficient and went, you call that ruthless? Yeah, that'll make more sense as this goes on. But rockets. Now, this one here is 3 cargo wagons, so it's not quite as fuel efficient as using, say, 2 cargo wagons. But if you're going on a low dupe count playthrough, you can actually just, well, basically cram up on fuel even more than you need. And as well as that, they went with the most ruthlessly efficient automation. Look at that. That is the most ruthlessly efficient you can get. There is literally not even a gate in there. It's just, yeah, we're just going to run the wire directly from the output to the input. If it's ready to launch, it's just going to send the launch signal to itself and get out of there. That's all it does. It also sends the open signal up to the doors. The only other piece of automation down here is this NOT gate, and that's only because the space scanner is there to detect it when it comes back. So if you're looking for the bare minimum of ruthless efficiency when it comes to your rocket launches, 1 automation wire, 1 NOT gate, and yep, that's it actually. 1 automation wire and 1 NOT gate. That's all you need. Just run it through these 2 points, up to the gates, and back down to a NOT gate that goes to the scanner. And just make sure the scanner is set to your rocket. Rocket Peas 1. Peas? Why is it called Rocket Peas 1? Oh, actually, I was looking at the star map for this one. And Bob got very, very, very unlucky. If you'll notice here, there's no actual 110k planets. It only goes out to the 100k. Not even 1 gas giant. That is just horrible. And if you look at the closer planets, they got these 2 are guaranteed. This one's guaranteed. And these 2 are guaranteed. And they got no extra planets out here. No extra satellites. Only 2 planetary bodies out here. This just means it would have been really awkward to get the research out early on. On the plus side, though, niobium and fullerene right in the first planet. Really handy, actually. That's actually quite good. Though, yeah, 1 steel planet, or 1 satellite for steel, not the best. But, oh yeah. We have rockets going out to the 40k. I don't know if that's for stone hatches or what's going on there. Fullerene? I don't know, it's all ores. I'm not actually quite sure. If you want to put in the comments, Bob, why you're heading out here, I have no idea. I've never actually, I don't think I've ever sent a rocket out to the rocky asteroid. I presume it's for the stone hatches, maybe, but you have a stone hatch farm. Oh, never mind. Next one we got, oh, that one's grounded. Where is it? Rocket Peas 1, where are you headed? You're headed to the closest planet. That's to get niobium, fullerene, and diamond, of course, because diamond is so useful. And then this one is going out to the rocky asteroid for iron ore, copper, sedimentary rock, igneous rock, isoresin, and abyssalite. Yeah. No idea why, but yeah, you did draw quite a short straw on not getting the not getting the gas giant. That's what I was trying to say. That's what sleep deprivation will do to you. Yeah, let's see. Now, oh yeah, petroleum comes all the way down here. Actually, let's have a quick zoom out and look at the playstyle here. This will give you an idea of the playstyle. There's nothing. That has been picked clean. Actually, let's just drive home the ruthless efficiency motif we were going with. Do you know when you drop stuff down and you have to actually go pick it all up and dump it in a centralized location, say somewhere over like here? Yeah, we'll say there. Well, that takes a long time. You gotta let your dupes run around for 100 cycles picking everything up. No. Nope. Instead, we're gonna put in shipping rails at the bottom of the map. Bear in mind, the entire top half of the map has been literally strip mined out and only ladder segments put in, so there's nowhere for the debris to rest. It literally just falls all the way down and ends up down here. Everything. And down here we have all these auto sweepers, and we have shipping loaders, and they basically just scooped it all up, even in the oil biome. Oh, one other thing I'd like to point out about the oil biome. Nothing left. It has been mined dry, or mined clean, just picked out. There is nothing. I mean, there's the odd piece of igneous rock here. I'm not even going to say anything. There is not a single piece of fossil left in the entire oil biome. Well done, sir. Very well done. But, oh yeah, back to the shipping rails. So yeah, these shipping rails down here, just all feed back along here. Apologies for the scrolling, but there's going to be a lot of that. Goes up here and gets dumped off at this centralized drop-off location. And if we scroll over this, will the game hang? Nope. we're pretty good. There's yeah, there's an enormous amount of everything there. Now the way you can tell is if you go close to it, you can see it's minus 2,524 decor. That's because of the sheer amount of debris on that spot. Also a couple of drop-offs up there. I assume they're set to sweep only. Yeah, so any sweep commands dumps it in there. This is the one centralized location for all materials on the entire map. Pretty awesome. Now, yes, liquid storage. Now, if you don't mind, personally, not a big fan of using things like this. I prefer a nice big tank so that I can see what's in there. But this is basically super compression. What we've got down here is we've got a little bit of crude oil. That's 143 kilos of crude oil, and there's only petroleum being dumped in there though now. So as the petroleum comes in, since the crude oil is in the way, but it's not a full tile, it goes, well, I can't say there, so it just pops up to the next tile, and the game doesn't check to see if there's anything there already. So it just basically allows you to overpressurize the room. Like, there's, what, 1,840 tons, or 184 tons of petroleum in that tile. That's a really efficient way of compressing everything. You're going to see a few of these around the map. There's one for clean water, one for polluted water, that kind of stuff. Actually, I don't think it's polluted water. There's the crude oil one. Yeah, there's, wow, that's a lot of crude oil. That's 5,660 tons of crude oil. Yeah, that's kind of mental. Where were we? Petroleum. Ah, yes. So, that's the petroleum line that goes up to the petroleum rockets. Oh, actually, I even forgot to cover. So much to cover. Okay. Here's the liquid hydrogen setup. Here's the liquid oxygen setup. Pretty standard issue. Actually, one second. I thought I had that down low enough. There we go. Yeah, so there's the liquid hydrogen, liquid oxygen. Rocket gone. Yeah, running 4 rockets as well. Nice. Oh, and automation-wise for this rocket. This rocket here is actually set up with an automated gantry recall. So when this sends out a green signal, this signal reverses and it pulls back the gantry. This allows you to just automate the launching of rockets. For people who are asking how to launch rockets where the gantries extend so the astronauts can get in and out, this is it. The moment when this rocket tries to land, the gantry will be retracted. Rocket will land, then the moment the rocket actually lands, the gantry will be put out, and the astronaut will automatically get out of the rocket and go do whatever. If they need to go to the bathroom, grab a snack, anything like that. And once they're ready, they'll come back to the rocket. And assuming it's been fueled up and the cargo has been extracted, then the rocket will go green, this gantry will get retracted, and then the doors will open and the rocket will launch. Very simplistic way of doing it. It's perfect. I mean, the sheer minimalist amount of automation there is just perfect. I like things that are very minimal and have very little moving parts that can go wrong. Same again over here. This is set with a temperature sensor and a hydro sensor to make sure that it pumps at the right temperature and when there's enough liquid in there to do it. So where's the... Yeah, you can see the liquid oxygen going out there. It rotates out, all ceramic pipes, comes all the way back in again. Also, we've got this rocket here. It's not being fueled up. I think it's waiting on something. Oh, I'm not sure. I haven't really checked too much into the details on that. It takes about an hour to go through people's bases just to figure out how they're put together. Now, let's see. Oop, this goes all the way down here and goes in and it's fed off this actual petroleum line here. The rest of it goes up here and pumps into the petroleum generators. You've got your 5 petroleum generators, can be run off 1 pipe of petroleum. A whole bunch of natural gas generators, backup coal. Pretty standard issue stuff, but nice big chunky box. And for the cooling solution, we've got this crude oil just rotating through all the way up and back. And you'll notice up here, this is the industrial brick area. It's got a cooling solution for down here and up here. The nice decor bombing effect, and as well as that, nice little addition on here. This room, the steam turbine room where it's getting cooled, it actually has metal tiles on top so it actually can cool down these molecular forges. A later addition once you get to space, but you just chuck them on top and the metal tiles here will conduct the chill through and just cool the room for you automatically. Also, that is the room of faces. It is nothing but face paintings. Where were we? Oh yes. So, power, that goes to the down here, and this gives us the polluted water. Actually, let's trace the polluted water again. That polluted water goes down here, and, oh my, across, up, over, filtered, across here, all the way through and into this box where it gets cleaned and put through the water sieve and dumped in here. There doesn't seem to be any, there's no need for polluted water disposal, so no weed fighter disposal. You literally have infinite water storage by using this method. So here's another little infinite water storage over here. This one uses a little bit of polluted water and then a whole bunch of clean water. Now you'll see there's food poisoning germs in here. That's because they're recycling the toilet water. Where's the toilets? Toilets, yeah. So all the toilets up here dump their polluted water down here. It's stored in these 3 tanks, and any excess goes in here to feed the pinch of pepper nuts. So this is Jeremy polluted water, but you don't really care. you'll notice that the germs are actually going down as it passes through the tanks. This is just one of those mechanics of where it happens. But it doesn't matter if germy polluted water ends up in this food, because the food doesn't actually take on the germs, so you're fine on that front. Look, they're all perfectly clean. So germy polluted water into your pinch of pepper nuts, not a bother. The rest of the polluted water goes down here and gets sieved in this sieve. Now if you'll notice here, there's lots of germs in this water, and then that water gets sieved and goes in here, but it doesn't really matter about the germs. You'll see there's some germs in here, but because of the sheer quantity of water in there, the game has to do a calculation when you pump out water. So it takes, say there's 4,000 germs in there and it pumps out 10 kilos. Well, it divides the amount of water in there by, well, it takes out 10 kilos, so it takes a percentage. So 10 kilos out of that is such a tiny percentage, it actually rounds down the amount of germs to 0. So as you're pumping water out of here, it's all got 0 germs in it, because there wasn't actually enough germs in there to actually count as 1% or a percentage of the water coming out. So that just gives you nice clean water that you can pump out and send to your electrolyzer setups, which go all the way. Also some of that clean water goes back in here to the toilets. The rest of it goes over here to the electrolyzer setup. Now, this is also a nice little feature. Steam turbine heat deletion device at the bottom. Crude oil cooling with just a straight through loop. So what's going on here is it comes in here, if the aqua tuner doesn't turn on, all that happens is the crude oil just skips it, goes straight on across here, and continues its loop. So when it doesn't need any cooling, the aqua tuner just turns off. Temperature sensor over here is what activates it, this liquid pipe thermal sensor, so it keeps this at 10 degrees. So this cools the steam turbine, so it doesn't generate any heat, and it also cools down the oxygen supply in this whole room. So all the oxygen is coming out of here, it's all pumped at the bottom, it's all 10, 12 degrees, and that will stay constantly at that. There'll be no fluctuations if you don't use too much oxygen for X amount of time, or you cut down your dupes or increase your dupes. Still will always be 10 degrees. And then just pumps it right out. Very nice little setup. Also, even though I'm going to accuse you of being even more ruthlessly efficient than me, that actually does look very aesthetically pleasing as well. Now, okay, so the oxygen goes off there and gets spread all throughout the base. Some of it goes up to space, some of it goes down to the base to feed the whole base below. Now, let's go down to oil biome, because there's lots of fun stuff down here. Now, it's here. So here is the actual oil wells themselves. Now, oil wells, look at this. Just a little simple, we leave a one-tile gap on each side. Crude oil just drops right down out of this, hits the floor, and just flows left to right. Perfect. Little liquid lock as well for getting in and out. Second one over here. So there's only 2 oil wells on this map as far as I'm aware. And then you've got your slickster farming. Now the slickster farming, I think that's winding down at the moment because the shove bowls have come online. But there's several slickster farms. There's 1 slickster farm here, 2 more here, and then another 2 over here. So many slicksters. Oh, this is actually an interesting one. Slicksters, a lot of them are actually molten slicksters. So the molten slicksters are producing petroleum, which is flowing down here. And now here we're going to see liquid separation. So what we've got down the bottom is crude oil, and what we've got up the top is the petroleum. So the petroleum sensor kicks in, it goes, oh, there's too much petroleum, it pumps it out. But this sensor here, you'll notice it's at 500 kilos. Even though it's buried underneath layers of liquid, this basically counts as a set amount of liquid. So this pump here is pumping out nothing but crude oil, look. It has no problem pumping out the crude oil because it's in crude oil. The cross-shaped section, I think, starts here, so it only pumps liquid from this tile, this tile, this tile, and this tile down here below it, which doesn't actually have anything in it at the moment. But that just makes it very simple to actually separate out the liquids. I never thought of doing that. That's actually a very handy way of making sure you can run the molten slicksters, and you don't have to worry about the oil getting anywhere. Now, all that crude oil is pumped off, so it goes to a petroleum boiler, but that's a little bit... this is kind of being decommissioned. You can see the doors locked on it at the moment. But the automation was basically even more shipping rails. All the eggs immediately got dumped in here. Some of them were dumped into the incubators. If the incubators were full, then there's a literal, there's an overflow here. Where does it go? Okay, so that goes in there. That will go across here, across that bridge, pumps up here. And this is where all the excess eggs go. So the excess eggs get sent all the way up here. And we're going to take a right in a second. Where is it? Yeah, over here. And they all get dumped into this section. So you notice there's a molten larvae and a whole bunch of molten larvae eggs there. This is an icebox, so another evolution room. So basically the slicksters in here are submerged in liquid the whole time, which drastically improves their thermal conductivity. So eventually they just end up evolving. Where is it? Molten larvae properties. Yeah, you can see the temperature there is just rapidly going down. And there goes some freshly evolved molten slickster out the way. Now, what else does this cool down? Actually, I forgot. There's so much. So this is the cooling loop for down here, and then this cooling loop here cools down the actual steam turbine up above. Just your basic average heat deletion device with a little bit of cooling thrown in. Actually, throwing gases through here. There is so much going on in this base. I think this is an attempt at some sort of boiler. I think maybe a natural gas boiler. I'm not sure, but it seems to be decommissioned anyway. Now, water sources. Totally forgot to cover those. So over here we've got your polluted water geyser. Over here we have a water vent. We also have over here on this left side we've got a cool steam vent. And one more. Where was the last one? Yeah, and we've got a second cool steam vent over here. And these seem to be all the water sources for the map. A lot of water. Now, for cooling these down though, we've got your standard issue steam turbine heat deletion device going through here. This runs cooling loops through here to actually cool down the steam. And then we've also got another one that goes over here to cool down this actual water geyser so it actually doesn't come out at 95 degrees. It actually comes out a little bit chillier than normal. But yeah, lots of ruthless efficiency going on here. Steam turbine built right in the middle of these two to just do double duty. Also those auto sweepers, again, absolutely awesome sauce. Now, food, that was it. Food is even more ruthlessly efficient. I know we've got the ruthlessly efficient harvesting of slicksters, but we've also got, where is it, this little section over here, once the game finished saving. But this little section over here is some automated food sorting. Now, if you look at the food sorting, we have almost 27 million calories in meat, 1 million calories in barbecue, 349,000 calories in omelets, and then a little bit of leftover muck root because you can never get rid of that stuff. You can't even compost it now. Anyway, so what we've got in here is we've got pinch of pepper nuts in one, we've got meat in the other, and the last one is sleep wheat. Now all of those are actually feeding right up here, which feeds into this auto sweeper, which feeds into the two grills. So any food that's completed gets dumped into this conveyor loader across here and dropped right back down here into the carbon dioxide room. This is a carbon dioxide retired mushroom farm as far as I can see. So this all drops down here. Then it's loaded up into these three conveyor loaders. There's basically equivalent ones for barbecue, sleep wheat buns, that kind of stuff. And then they all get sent over here to this storage room, which is also quite chilly, just because why not? So you've got a chilly icebox room to actually store all the food. This means your dupes don't have to go anywhere and do anything. It just ends up ending up where it needs to go. I mean, look at this. Automation for the farm so that all the food, all the pepper nuts get dumped in here, and the pepper nuts get shipped straight up there and dumped right down here so that this device can pick them up and send them over to the cooking area. Ruthlessly efficient. Just ruthlessly efficient. And over here, they've taken the decor bombing to a new level. They put in an actual decor, a decor floor that basically just, with these diamond tiles, basically decor bombs the areas above and below it. For example, look there. There's 600 decor just from the statues right there. 630. So let's say I take this duplicate here. Is this Ashcan? Yeah, Ashcan. What was your average decor last cycle? 229 decor. Current decor exposure is 748. Also, the same amount of decor exposure when they're in the toilets because they're just right on top of each other. I know, never critique stuff, but you haven't actually got a recreational building in here for some reason. I don't know why. If you look at the consumables, let me grab, say, any of them. Mess hall +3. So you still have a mess hall. Quick solution to that is just stick in a recreational building. I don't know if this was on purpose or not, but if you put in a recreational building, you'll get an extra +3 morale. This will turn this into a great hall, and that will give you the +3 morale. And a recreational building is a few things. There's either the water cooler, which is see the way it says preferred, what was it, effect recreation, jukebox, also recreation, arcade cabinet, also recreation, and espresso machine, also recreation. If you put one of those 4 buildings in your mess hall, it becomes a great hall. The water cooler is the smallest, and if you don't want to pay the water cost, you can actually just place down the water cooler and then disable the water cooler, and your dupes won't actually bring water to it. But I think you might have done this because you don't seem to have a water pump. You're literally running on pretty much everything's automated, so you don't want to actually have your dupes bringing water to it. But you can put in a jukebox or a stereo or something like that, exact same effect. It'll just cost you some power. Power which is not a problem considering the enormous amount of petroleum you have. Oh, stone hatch farm over here. Also set up with an automated sweeper for the eggs. The eggs get swept over here. Where this, if this hatchery needs them, they get dumped in here. If they're not needed, they get dumped over here into this liquid lock. because it's 2 tiles high, the hatches can't jump out. So this is basically an evolution room right beside the kitchen, just because that's just faster. Sure, the dupes can hear the cries of the drowning hatches, but, you know, ruthless efficiency can't be beaten. Now, where were we? 1 second. Let's have a quick zoom out here and have a look at the power grid for this sucker. Oh, where are we? Ah, perfect. Neat, but not so neat it makes me feel bad. Love it. Yeah, so there's the power grid. There's a main power spine over here. Where is it? Yeah, here's the main power spine over here from the power plants, and that goes all the way up to space to tap into the solar as well. And the battery boxes, the enormous, enormous battery boxes. Yeah, one other neat feature of this, and when I say neat, I mean neat as in the term neat. You'll notice this is a perfect square, this room. Like, the whole thing is an exact perfect square. No messing about with a little bit too much one side or the other. It's actually a perfect square. All the dupes exit through, where is it? Right here. So there you've got your Atmos suits, everything. And they all exit out through here. You've got your nice little decor bombing bonus here as well, because, well, all the dupes are going to pass by there multiple times a day. Why not? So, yeah, massive decor bombing. And liquid lock and leads them out into here. Where is it? Oh, yeah, carbon dioxide vent that you're actually harnessing and pumping down to the oil biome. They give it pathetically a small amount of carbon dioxide, but every little bit helps. Carbon dioxide levels down here, 7 kilos. I think you actually had enough slicksters to take care of your carbon dioxide, which is kind of impressive considering you're running how many petroleum generators again? 5 petroleum generators and a bunch of natural gas generators. That's a lot of power. Quick look at the copper harvesting. You'll notice copper there, 200 tons of copper. I would invest a lot of that into power cabling. Actually, did you make your power cabling out of copper? Oh my, yeah, that's what you've been using. Smart plan. Yeah, so you've got lots and lots of excess copper, which makes wonderful heavy conductive wire. Or not heavy conductive wire, just regular conductive wire. So yeah, smart plan to use that one. Just yeah, standard issue volcano tamer. Where's the other one? Yes, petroleum boiler. Dear Lord, that is so much magma. You got a full-sized regular volcano. Couple of damaged segments up there. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, that's pretty much par for the course of petroleum boiling. When you start working with temperatures that hot, it's going to happen. But actually, a little bit of igneous rock harvesting down here. It actually there's you can see the liquid cooling. So there's a vacuum in here, but when this drops down, this auto sweeper picks it up and dumps the rocks off, so that the rocks can get sent down to the stone hatches. So absolutely ruthlessly efficiently using every single resource. Not only that, they get sent down here and they get dumped into this section, which I presume is some sort of cooling. And let's see. Yep, so there's actually a cooling loop going on here to actually chill the rocks down before you let them leave the base, because you do want them heating up your base. Smart plan. And that goes all the way back down, and I'm pretty sure that goes back to the stone hatches. Oop, where are we going? Okay, down here, down here. Okay, hops across here, straight up. Damn it, okay, I've lost it. Okay, wait, no, it gets actually dumped in here into the regular storage solution. I presume you're decommissioning most of the stone hatches. You've gone so late game and you've got so much food coming in from other sources, it seems like you don't need it anymore. But dear Lord, 27 tons of meat. That is absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, I'm going to cut this one out here. It's just nice to have a good happy video on a Friday of just some glorious bases going on. Now, I've got 3 other maps I have to look at already. So people have sent them in to me. Sorry I haven't got back to you already. It's just between everything that was going on, I just didn't have time to do it. I'll hammer those out in the next week. One of them supposedly has... they're using liquid metal to melt insulation pipes, because insulation, after it melts and solidifies again, turns into tungsten. So you can literally turn insulation into tungsten, which makes tungsten a renewable resource. But you need to use something like niobium heated up to liquid metal temperatures or something like that. I really want to tear that map open and have a look. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed. Thanks again to Bob and Charles for the maps. Leave them if they leave a comment in the section. Maybe they can explain some of the things I missed. Anyway, I hope you have a nice weekend and enjoy.